Okay, now that I told you what populations and samples are, let's come up with some. Example A says the following statements are populations. Determine a possible sample that is part of a population. So, for this one right here, it gives you a population, people living in a specific neighborhood, and they want you to come up with a sample for it. There's no right or, well, I guess there are wrong, but it's not just one right answer. I'm going to give a possible sample, okay, but there are many others that could work. So people living in a specific neighborhood, a sample of that could be the people living in one house of that neighborhood. Okay, that could work. That's not the only answer. You could say other things like the children that live in that neighborhood, or the people that live on a certain street in that neighborhood. All right. Number 2, families with children. A sample of that could be families that have exactly 2 children, or families that have children that are teenagers. Okay, there's a lot of different subgroups that you can come up with for that particular population. A student in one of my classes said the exactly 2 children, and I like that one, so that's the one I'm going to use. And number 3 is seniors at East High School. Okay, a possible sample of that. You know, one sample that's always easy to come up with is just boys or girls, or, teenagers, or, there's some that are just easy to go with. I'm going to go ahead and say boys that are seniors at East High School. East High School. That's what EHS stands for. East High School. Okay, so now let's look at it the other way. What if they give us the sample and we need to determine a possible population? So they gave us the small group and we need to think of a big group that it could belong to. Okay, so number 4 says the children who play football for the YMCA. Okay, well, a possible population could be everybody who goes to the YMCA, or even all the children that go to the YMCA, because out of all the children, they don't all play football. Some of them go to the YMCA to swim or stuff like that. So, there's bigger groups that you can think of pretty easily, I think. So I'm going to go with all children at the YMCA. Okay, number 5 says students who were on the B honor roll for the first 9 weeks. Okay, so that's the smaller group. We need to think of the bigger group that those students belong to. Okay, how about all the students that passed for the first 9 weeks? Okay, this could be, or this would be a group inside of that group. So, yeah. Okay, and number 6, households that have cable in the Riverside apartment complex. Okay, that's a smaller group. What could that group belong to? What bigger group could that group belong to? How about everybody in the Riverside apartment complex? All households, not just the ones that have cable, but all of them. And I want to say again that, and this is important, these are just possible populations. These are not the only correct answers. Okay, you may have come up with your own. That is not what I wrote. That doesn't mean it's wrong. Okay, yours could be right. Okay, there is a your turn for you to do on your own. Actually, if anybody is still watching this video this far, I'm going to sneak in here and help you with your turn number 1. A survey of 2,541 American households discovered that 64% of the households own one car. They want you to determine the population and the sample. Okay, well, it's not as hard as you may think. A survey of all these households, that's the population. That's who they are, looking at. So, American households. And what did they discover? They discovered that 64% of them own one car. So, there you go. That's the sample. That's the smaller group within the bigger group. All right, so there's your turn number 1 done for you. Your turn number 2, though, you have to do on your own.